Hey guys, Gaijin Hunter here, back with another weapon demo. Now this one is a long time in the coming, and the reason I say that is because I'm a Lancer. I play all 14 weapons, but Lance was my first real main weapon, so I always consider it one of my more closest ones. If you don't know Lance, you may be asking yourself, what do I mean by evade Lance and not just Lance? Well, the thing is that there's two major different ways to play the Lance. One is evading, and one is the more traditional guarding and counterattacks. For this, I'm going to be using the GX Amatsu, which gives me an overkill set. Evasion plus 3, evasion distance up, sharpness plus 1, fast sharpen, and even, for a small bonus, elemental affinity up. You really don't need evasion distance up for Zinogre, and you don't need evasion plus 3 at all, but it's just a set I had, so why not? That'll be coming at a later time for you guys for downloadable content in the US version. But evade lancing is really fun, so I'm going to do a video on guard lancing separately. But the whole point of evade a lance is that with the lance, you can do up to 3 side steps, back hops in a row. What this essentially means is that you can use evasion techniques to actually move around. Here I was actually trying to see if I could get a jump on him, but I totally whiffed it. Like, that's just pathetic. Like most hunts, like here you see me whiffing at air. If you get off to a bad start, you often find yourself screwing up in the first 10 seconds. Don't let it get to you. Just go with it, and you'll see how it goes. But you'll see me using this back hop a lot. So evasion lancing, you want evasion distance up, but you use these back hops to move around. Now if you notice, I ran out of stamina there, and that's a reason why a lot of people like to have stamina juice. Both, it's good for guard lancing because you never run out of stamina, so as long as you're hitting R, you never die pretty much. But it's also good for evasion lancing because you never run out of stamina to move around. That being said, I'm not into item management, so it's just not something I do. I am also a huge fan of mounting monsters, so you'll see me do this run and jump attack with the lance quite a bit, even though it's not necessarily the most efficient way to play. So the whole idea with evasion lancing is that you're going to want to evade through attacks and just keep up your onslaught. To move around, you're going to be using your side steps and back hops. And it's kind of weird the first time because you're not used to back hopping to get towards an enemy. It's usually to get away from them. You can see here, you can go right through them. Evasion plus 3, some may argue that it's broken, but because of the amount of frames that it takes to do a side hop or a back hop with lance, if you do evasion plus 3 as a skill, you're invincible the entire time. So you can do up to 3 hops and be totally invincible. Again, it's strong, but it doesn't do any damage to the enemy at all. So I don't consider it broken, because it still takes skill to know when to get in a strike and when not to. And as you can see, a single hop is more than enough. With evasion plus 3, it's also very easy to side stop through yells and screams. So it's another reason why you really don't need earplugs when doing evasion lancing. Here he just got me off my mark. It happened. Now generally for Zinogre, you don't want evasion distance up. I mean, it helps you so you can get close to him, but you could use your charge for that. The problem with evasion distance up is that after you do your triple thrust, and you do it, you end up being pretty far away from the monster, and you can't just go into your next combo, so you gotta be really careful about using side hops instead of back hops. That being said, in generally, evasion plus 2 and evasion distance up, and then either sharpness plus 1 or home blade is the way to go for an evasion lance set. I was just having fun. I knew my sharpness was almost dead anyway, so I thought I would just pack in the elemental damage since my lance was packing in ice. Go ahead and sharpen up here. Now remember, sharpening your weapon actually increases the damage that it does. It's not just about bouncing off, so make sure that you do sharpen up, especially if you drop below white. You want to make sure you do. Evasion lancing is just really fun. I mean, you sit there just poking him and you feel like you're taming a wild animal. It's just so much fun. And no matter what they do, they can't hit you, it feels like, so. Now if you're not used to lance, you may not know this, but for the first 2 attacks, the upward thrust is actually slightly more powerful than the forward thrust. So I do try to use it when possible. We'll go for a mount with style. Didn't quite get it, but we'll get it here, I think. I was taking my time, I just wanted to show off the more solid tenets of evade lancing instead of just rushing through it. Because again, this series is not about me playing really good or playing perfectly. It's about just real usage, I think, for most players. Now he has a charge back and I screwed up here. I actually wanted to do a charge into his back so I could do lots of elemental damage, but I screwed up and went towards the tail, so it happens. But his back is weaker when it's charged up like that. And it looks like he's already done. So I always keep trying to do a stylish finish here, but I always mess it up. So I thought I waited long enough, but I don't think I did. I think you need to wait about 10 full seconds before you go in for him to actually fall asleep. But he was already enraged and up and going, so oh well. Here I was just having fun. This area is funky because these small monsters really like to troll you hardcore. You can see again where that back hop really helps you move around. It gives you such mobility. That's what happens when you run out of stamina. You're unable to evade attacks. And there we go. Good night, Zinogre. So I hope you enjoyed the demo. I mean, evade lancing, I constantly like to say, is the hidden 15th weapon of Monster Hunter. It's just really fun to do. Well, that doesn't mean that guard lancing isn't just as effective or as fun. So I'm going to do a separate video on guard lancing, but I hope you enjoyed this one. And finally, I think a lot of you were wondering how Kogath, the master of the Monster Hunter Wikia, how he did on his Hunter for Hire. So let's go check on him. Looks like not only did he succeed, it was also a huge success. So they took down 2 Seregio, so good job, Kogath. And let's go see who the next person on my Hunter for Hire is, because you could be shamed, you could get glory. Aha! We have Grant. So Grant actually hunted with me the other day on my stream. I believe he's Japanese, but he is a follower of mine and a very good hunter. And he was also a huge amount of fun to play with. So Grant, I wish you all the luck, ganbatte kudasai, and thank you for following. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my weapon demo, and I'll try to get around to doing the rest hopefully soon. Happy hunting.